The rate of electric power generation and supply in any given country largely determines the economy of such a nation. Today, energy has become the major fulcrum on which economy, technology, and development hinges. Nigeria, a fast-growing economy, has suffered setbacks in its quest to develop into an industrialized nation in the past 2 decades. This was mostly due to insufficient electricity supply. Industries which normally would produce goods for export underproduced, or in most cases folded up, for lack of power to operate their machines. For many years, the economy of the country could not experience a steady growth. Rather, it recorded a wobbly wave with more downward dives than upward gradients. In the midst of all of this, the state-run power company, the Power Holding Company of Nigeria, PHCN, kept pointing out that incessant vandalization of power cables, transformers, and other power transmission and distribution infrastructure was creating major setbacks to electricity supply in Nigeria. Importation of cheap electric generators from Asian countries provided an alternative but dangerous source of power for homes and businesses. These, among others, were the major factors that led to the establishment of the Niger Delta Power Holding Company Limited, NDPHC. In 2005, the federal government, under the Obasanjo administration, incorporated the Niger Delta Power Holding Company Limited, NDPHC, to take charge of the assets of the National Integrated Power Project, NIPP. The NIPP was to serve as a fast-track mechanism to add significant new generation capacity to the country's electricity supply system and expand transmission and distribution infrastructure on a phenomenal scale. Conceived as an emergency intervention scheme to tackle the power problem in the country, the NIPP was funded by the federal, state, and local governments of Nigeria.
Look at the structure. Mr. President himself is sitting on top of the structure of NIPP, and the Vice President is the chairman of the board of directors of NIPP. All the states of Nigeria are represented through 6 of their representatives on the board. The federal government is represented through 4 of its representatives in the form of ministers on the board. You can see the House of Assembly, made up of the Senate Committee on Power with the distinguished Senator Duda as chairman, and also the House Committee on Power with Honorable Patrick Kareli as the chairman. All of them interested in ensuring that these projects are done and completed.
However, in 2007, following a change in government, funding became a problem. The projects were halted and proposed ones suspended. For 2 years, there was a standstill and a dwindling that plunged the electricity supply situation in the country further below its original state before the establishment of the Niger Delta Power Holding Company.
Of course, in 2007 we had a problem of common understanding between the government and the project management, and there was some delay of maybe 2.5 years. There was even a legislative probe on the project, and this was going on while all the equipment for the power stations were in. All the gas turbines had come in, and they were lying at the ports, they were lying at some of the project sites.
Late in 2008, the National Economic Council set an additional $5.375 billion as a power emergency fund for the NIPP. The NDPHC went right back to work, renegotiating with its contractors on ways to pick up the NIPP and save the project from complete collapse. Today, 10 new power stations are being constructed in different parts of Nigeria. They are Alaoji, Abia State, 1,074 megawatts, Calabar Cross River State, 561 megawatts. Egbema, Imo State, 338 megawatts. Geregu, Kogi State, 434 megawatts. Bahrain, Bayelsa State, 225 megawatts. Ihobo, Edo State, 450 megawatts. Olorunshogo, Ogun State, 750 megawatts. Omoko, River State, 250 megawatts. Omotosho, Ondo State, 500 megawatts. And Sapele, Delta State, 450 megawatts. The NIPP power stations will add about 4,774 megawatts of electricity to the national grid. 6 of these power plants have been completed, while work on the other 4 are at an advanced stage. Some of the power plants have even been commissioned by the Nigerian president, Dr. Goodluck Jonathan.
2 weeks ago, I inaugurated the 434 megawatts Geregu Phase 2 NIPP power plant and transmission switchyard for power evacuation in Geregu, Kogi State. Today, we are adding the Omotosho Phase 2 power plant, which has a design capacity of 513 megawatts built to accommodate future conversion to combined cycle gas turbine configuration. This open cycle gas turbine power plant will greatly enhance our ability to boost power supply. It will further drive government's effort towards increased productive capacity across our national economy.
Many of the value chain projects have been consistently delivered since January 2011, with reasonable expectations that the remaining projects will be delivered in the first quarter of 2014.
All the generation works. Some are being commissioned and are already injecting power to the grid, and some are almost completed. None is below 80% completion. So we have been having good progress, and you will recall early in 2010, the total generation capacity that is put into the grid in this country was in the region of about 2,000 megawatts. And we have been growing. By April 2011, we were at about 3,800 megawatts. And today, we are injecting into our grid 4,517.6 megawatts.
The NDPHC has also added 274 kilometers of transmission lines to Nigeria's power system. These are the 330 kV DV Ajokuta Lokoja Gwagwalada lines, 222 kilometers. The 330 kV DC Ihobo Benin Main Oshogbo Line A, 17 kilometers. The 330 DC Babalanto Ikeja West Ayede Line, 16 kilometers. The 330 kV DC Igomu Jeba Oshogbo SC Turn-in-Turn-out Line, 12 kilometers. The 330 DC Omotosho Ikeja West Line, 5 kilometers. And the 2-kilometer 132 kV DC Igomu Ilori Oshogbo Turn-in-Turn-out Line. It has equally strengthened the transmission capacity of the 12 substations, built 3 new ones and rehabilitated 2 others, providing a cumulative capacity of 2,370 MVA in the area of distribution, which is the third leg of the power rehabilitation tripod. The NDPHC has completed 30 zonal projects. These are 2 in Abuja Zone, 2 in Benin Zone, 9 in Edo Zone, 6 in Ibadan Zone, 6 in Ikeja Zone, 3 in Kaduna Zone, and 2 in the Jos Yola Zone. As distribution is an integral part of the National Integrated Power Project (NIPP), the Niger Delta Power Holding Company Limited has put in everything to make the commodity get to the end users. Embarking on this aspect of the NIPP, the NDPHC encountered a challenge: the decrepit, nondescript power distribution network owing to aging and low capacity transformers. The NDPHC is putting the huge 3000 kVA to 5000 kVA low voltage range of transformers out of service. They are replacing them with hundreds of thousands of complete self-protected CSP high voltage transformers in the 25 to 50 kVA range. Now, one transformer serves just 2 to 3 homes. This system makes it easier to locate any fault in the transformer and promptly fix it without recourse to any neighborhood contribution or fundraising. These small transformers also have low load loss compared to the big ones. There is little exposure to any vandalism as these transformers are visible to all. The NDPHC is earnestly determined to give a huge lift to the country's power generation, transmission and distribution by employing the latest available technology in its approach to power systems construction. Today, global best practice dictates that power transmission infrastructure should be able to carry more than the transmission brings on in order to create redundancies, which would come in handy in the event of load loss. The NDPHC is determined to achieve this in Nigeria. The NDPHC's 6-point plan for 2013 includes the completion of all gas turbine projects, follow-up of the outstanding combined cycle for the Alaoji Power Station, follow-up of the completion of transmission projects to deliver 2,194 kilometers of additional transmission lines, follow-up of the completion of distribution projects of 3,533 MVA substations, plus 2,600 kilometers of 11 kV lines and 1,700 kilometers of 33 kV lines. Complete gas projects and conclude all gas sales aggregator agreements GSAA and gas transmission agreements GTA, and receive and commence the implementation of Transaction Advisor's recommendation. Halfway through 2013, the Niger Delta Power Holding Company commenced the privatization of the 10 power plants under the National Integrated Power Project NIPP, as was originally envisioned in the Power Reform Master Plan. After an exhaustive series of roadshows in Lagos, London, Hong Kong, and New York, successful bidders were selected through a pre-qualification process. The plants up for privatization are the 10 power plants in the NIPP portfolio, which have an aggregate design capacity of 5,453 megawatts. 8 of the power plants are designed as open-cycle gas turbine power plants, and the other 2 as combined-cycle gas power plants.
Part of the component of the transformation agenda is to create a conducive atmosphere for the private sector to bring in their capital and support government in the development of the Nigerian economy. The power sector has now been almost handed over to the private sector following the passage of the Power Sector Electric Power Sector Act, which liberalized the sector and led to the privatization process of the 15th successor company of the Power Holding Company. And now we're coming on to the NIPP, which means in the next few months, the power sector in Nigeria will be almost 80 to 90% private sector driven.
The NDPHC is working towards achieving the objective of President Goodluck Jonathan on privatization as a way of guaranteeing effective and qualitative power supply in the country. A privatization would also tackle the unemployment situation in the country. This is because when fully on stream, the 10 plants have a capacity to employ over 10,000 Nigerians in both direct and ancillary services employment. Nigerians will also benefit from the privatization in the area of backward integration and technology transfer.
Everybody has started enjoying the benefits, so there's no way we can say we don't want these benefits again.
Truly, the Niger Delta Power Holding Company Limited, NDPHC, is the sure way of solving Nigeria's electricity supply problem. The lights are coming on, and this time they are coming on to stay.